island, his wife ripped into pieces and his 2 children missing. Quinn continued moving slowly toward the underpass. His team was exceptional, but they were also friends he didn't want to see harmed. As their Belador Maistir, he ordered people into danger all the time, but everything about these attacks said this was not a normal situation. He did a mental eye roll at that thought. Talk about an oxymoron. Everything Beladors confronted fell under the heading of abnormal. Reaching the spot where he and Devon were to watch for Evol and Tristan, Quinn dropped into a crouch behind a small bush to scan the area. From the other side of the narrow rail bridge, Evol removed her dark sunglasses, exposing her glowing green eyes. She blinked twice at Quinn to signal that she and Tristan were in place. Quinn gave a hand signal of confirmation, then looked over his shoulder at Devon, who crouched close behind him. Quinn gave the signal to move out. Devon had limited telepathic ability, but the Cajun could move in this environment as silently as a lizard. Speaking mind to mind would be simpler, but Quinn had been the one to caution against using telepathy unless they had no other choice. Until recently, no one besides other Beladors or their Traor rulers could communicate with a Belador telepathically, the one exception to this rule being select Beladors who could reach the Viper liaison, Sen. But the Lacrofola, an enemy group related to Beladors, had appeared in Atlanta recently with the ability to pick up their telepathic messages. As if the trolls weren't enough to contend with? Quinn opened his senses wide as he picked his way over rutted ground that deteriorated further every time foul weather drove the water hard through here. He smelled rotting foliage, but no trash. Another sign this had to be the right place. Trolls kept the area leading to their nest free of human debris. Dirt had been piled against one shoulder of the underpass. Using his telekinetic ability, Quinn pushed gently at the loose earth. The dirt shifted aside easily, meaning it hadn't been in that spot very long. As he used his power to quietly clear dirt out of the way, a rough-cut wooden covering 5 feet across and 6 feet tall came into view. No hinges. It should lift away, but what waited on the other side? Cutting his eyes around, he signaled Evol and Tristan to watch their backs. Quinn motioned Devon into position on the opposite side of the wood covering. Devon moved with Belador hyperspeed. Since they were somewhat hidden, humans shouldn't see anything unusual that happened down here unless this turned into a battle of power and magic that exploded in bright bursts. Letting out a slow breath, Quinn lifted his hands and nodded at Devon, who mirrored his moves. They each raised one side of the wood hatch by using kinetic power and moved it an inch at a time until Devon took control of the cover and slipped it softly to the ground. No one came flying out with a mouthful of sharp teeth, but trolls wouldn't need to when they could wait in the perfect ambush spot. Quinn squatted to look inside. Stone stairs went down, disappearing into a black hole. That could lead to a simple, large room if the trolls hadn't been here long, or if they'd had more time, to a maze of tunnels. He hated tunnels. Only one way in and one way out, unless you had inside information. The trolls would have an exit plan, but they'd also keep it well hidden, which made for a perfect trap if someone was crazy enough to break into a troll nest. Schedule me for a psyche eval as soon as this is over. Quinn ducked his tall frame into the hole, glad he'd worn cargo pants for ease of movement. They were all outfitted in similar black clothing from neck to toe. The air had a damp, sour odor to it the deeper he went, but he had no complaint about the solid rock steps. No squeaking noises, no sound at all. His skin crawled with warning. Trolls had never been a docile group, but for the most part the local ones kept to themselves. There had been one instance when Svart trolls from another country invaded Atlanta with plans to take over the city. Other than that, the trolls tended to be good about policing their own community to avoid Viper stepping in to do that for them. The Viper Coalition acted as a governmental body over all preternaturals in the human world, with the exception of a select